Hello, listeners, to the Morgan and Dom podcast.
Howdy.
This is a very special episode of the Morgan and Dom podcast, probably because it's not actually an episode of the Morgan and Dom podcast.
No, it is an episode of something else.
Something we've been teasing for quite a while.
Something very special.
We're presenting to you now on the Morgan and Dom feed, as well as its own feed, Morgan and Dom's +1.
+1.
Which is our new sort of interview program where we've got an extra special guest. This week's
Extra
guest,
special guest. Not just a special guest, extra special.
well, you're already a special guest, and
Oh.
I'm your special guest, so we have an extra special guest on the program.
That makes sense. So,
This week we've got Hannah Reid, who is an animator, a filmmaker, and a writer, and
your co-host on your other show that you abandoned me
and my
for.
co-host on my podcast that I am doing without Morgan,
Yep.
which is significantly better
Let's not talk about
than
it.
our show. But
But so yeah, this first episode will be on this feed. But for any other future episodes that we do, there will be a new feed for that. This is just to get you guys introduced,
Yeah.
and it will not be replacing the Morgan and Dom show. It will be a supplemental, like something else we are also doing.
that's true. That's happening.
So you still
completely
get your daily, you still get your monthly dose of
monthly
us.
thing. This is like a little added extra.
We'll do it. We haven't got a
yeah.
date. It'll be out whenever.
We'll see.
Unless it actually performs better, in which case we may abandon
Which case we'll
ship
just
on
drop the
yeah.
original show altogether. But
But
without
for
any further
now-
ado, because we've been going on for quite a while without actually
I'm very good.
broadcasting a show.
Yeah,
This is Morgan and Dom +1.
+1.
Hello, welcome. Morgan and Dom +1. This is the first time we've done this.
The inaugural first episode. Inaugural. I don't think that's the right use of that word, to be honest.
I thought it was the right use of that word.
Isn't inaugural ongoing every year?
I thought inaugural was the first of a thing that's ongoing.
Yeah, then both.
Who knows? We're off to a great start. We're joined today by Hannah Reid, who, how would you describe yourself? Welcome to the program, by the way.
No, you got it right. Hannah Reid. That sums it up.
This is just your name. That's all.
Yeah.
No
It's
more
just a
introduction
name.
required. Now look, this is a show that we're sort of trialing. I suppose. Yeah, this is
Definitely
our start to what will hopefully become an interesting program. Why don't you explain to the people what we're going to try and achieve today, Morgan?
Today we are going to interview creative. That is Hannah's role, I believe. I think creative is the correct term. Each episode we would like to interview a creative about them, what they like, what they want to do, and hopefully, just introduce us to a whole new subject area, and also hopefully provide some easy, nice listening for all you people out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hannah,
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me now.
I think there's a heap of pressure on you
Entertain
now.
the people with your life.
Yeah. So, okay, tell us about your life.
About my life.
First, tell us what you do, first of all. Let's go with that.
Okay, well, I'm a uni student.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much like the base, the most of what I do. I spend most of my time at uni,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not at uni, then I'm at work, and if I'm not at work, then I'm usually asleep or eating. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you put the pressure on, be interesting, entertain the people.
So you don't have to be interested.
Oh yeah,
you can
no,
just be you.
we've survived by not being interesting for
Yeah,
years now.
exactly.
So
Okay, good.
So what are you studying then?
Okay, I'm studying animation and fiction writing.
Fiction writing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I told you that.
yeah,
That's
it's definitely been
okay, I'm
mentioned in
just
an
a-
episode of your
Okay, great. I'm
current
just a
radio
bad
show.
friend.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She constantly pitches stories to you.
I know she constantly pitches
That's
stories.
true.
to
I
me,
reckon
but-
I pitch a story a week to you.
Yes.
I reckon every week, even if it's not on the radio, I pitch a story to you.
That seems to be true.
Yeah.
Dom is historically a bad friend, though. So
I am historically a bad friend.
Bad cop. You know, what
I'm a
can I
terrible
say?
person. I mean, for those who don't know, we should probably. There's a conflict of interest here, in that Hannah and I
wasn't
also
gonna
do a
bring it
radio
up.
program together. You were going to bring it up because you told me before the show that you were going to bring it up. I've just beat you to the punch.
fair enough.
But Hannah and I do a program back where we started out at 3SSR.
Yep.
And so what are those your big three interests then? Animation, fiction writing, and the radio?
Oh yeah, I think the radio is my favorite out of all of them because, like I was saying to you yesterday, if I fuck up, can I?
the internet.
We can now.
If I screw up, I'm not going to get fired and I'm not going to fail. So yeah, the radio is great. Yes,
There is a surprising amount of freedom
There
that
is,
just
yeah.
You get
of just
given.
being able to-
Surprisingly, I don't know why they ever trusted us,
Oh, I know.
but they gave us a surprising amount of freedom.
Okay, a complete, massive amount of freedom. So, I mean, so where are you coming from with this whole sort of creative thing? Where did that all start?
I was thinking about this on the way here, and I'm thinking, like, I have, like, no origin story. Like, there's no Wolverine to my...
like nothing?
to my
Your parents didn't get shot in a dark alley or anything?
No, nothing like that.
I'm going to be creative. Could be Batman, but nah.
Yeah, I
It's,
didn't
like,
get those two choices.
I feel like this would be, like, the Melbourne version of Batman. Like, nothing happened to my parents, so I'm going to bludge off the government and make crappy cartoons.
Yeah, I graduated from high school. I continued on to uni and decided to be a creative.
That works, I suppose. So you're studying animation now.
Yeah, so I started off doing photography, and then I moved into modeling. Then I went into film and TV, which is where I met you. And I knew about you before I met you. Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
yes.
Was he like a legend of the film and TV world?
I'm gonna guess it wasn't from the Roy and the Dom show.
It was like I could be like, yeah, it was so well known among all that. No, it was
Yeah, let's go with
like
that. I'm happy with that.
No. So my coworker was I'm assuming still your friend, Christian, and he was saying that, oh yeah, my friend
That Christian?
That Christian.
Okay, yeah, cool.
That Christian.
I know
Yeah.
Christian.
Christian was saying, oh, my friend Dom is doing your course. And then apparently he was saying the same to you. My coworker is doing your course. And then we went to, I think it was The Great Gatsby.
Yes.
And
yeah.
we were talking for like half an hour. And then you mentioned Christian. And I'm like, oh my God, I know you. Like, yeah. And then it all fell into place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I sort of had to, like, because I'm a bad friend, like, try and rack my brains for, did Christian actually mention someone to me? I don't know. And yes, he had. And that's the origin
So
story.
yeah, that is an
of-
origin story. There you
of
go. You
our
have
friendship,
one.
at least.
Well, for that friendship at least.
And then I
Yeah.
realized, I'm like, oh, he's doing film and television. Better do animation. No,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Jump
ran
ship
away
immediately.
to
Yeah.
animation.
So, what then? You can tell we're not very good at the whole asking questions thing.
I mean, I was going to jump in. But
oh, you jump in. Go ahead. I've got nothing.
I wanted to know, is there what prompted the move from film and television to animation? Was there something about animation that called to you?
Oh, I really always wanted to be in film and television, or like do like movies and stuff like that. And then I realized that I really hated making movies. Like
Fair enough.
like the whole when you watch movies and like the whole industry is quite like I think glamorized, and then when you start studying, you're like, oh, I'm not going to sleep for like the next 3 years. And then I sort of like really started losing interest in it, but I always like had an interest in like drawings and cartoons and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, we'll give that a go, and it just fit really, really well. So yeah, it just worked out pretty well. Like there's no like, oh, back when I was a child, I always wanted to be in. It was my calling card. You know,
I saw
nothing
Fantasia
like,
and it just hit me.
yeah, nothing like that. Like nothing awesome like that. It was just like,
You just kept
I
trying
just-
stuff and then you're like, I'm
yeah.
going to try this. And then it worked
and it
out.
finally worked out. Finally, like I'm 25 years old and I'm finally getting somewhere in my life.
Finally pick something that's working for you.
Yes, it actually might, yet again, like actually lead to something really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I think I've been miting for years now. Like,
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Yeah.
like this podcast might get released.
It might not. We never know.
Oh, so we could like do like all this work and all that stuff that like beforehand, and you're like,
Absolutely.
might.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dom's very judgmental.
I'm awful. Actually, it'd more be you. I'm happy to release pretty much anything that I make, but I've been on projects with other people where we're on like the third iteration of the same program and nothing's been released yet. So who knows?
Yeah, I think that's the same for like our radio show. Like we'll quickly
that's
listen
true.
back over, and I was like, cut that. I was like, no, it's fine. I don't care that you're bitching about your friend. It's fine. You don't sound like that. I don't know why I put
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
no.
the voice of
I was just like, am I
much.
sitting between
Yeah.
two Doms all of a sudden? It was quite surreal.
The voice is a bit much. I mean, you don't have that experience with this show, do you?
What
Or
experience?
with our podcast where I don't tell you what I'm cutting.
No,
It just
I kind of just
disappears
listen
from
to
the
it every
show.
week, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay. I had to
I have to
tell you to
do it.
cut something the other week because I hadn't bought the domain name yet.
Oh, yes.
Still haven't, but I also changed the name in between then. But yeah, most of the time it's quite like, what did Dom cut this week? I'm
Yeah.
going to have a
It's a
listen.
great
I think our
example of how the
first
show
episode
works.
back when we started doing monthly, I went on a bit of a tirade about censorship and tried to make it as hard as possible for him to cut stuff. But I think he still cut around it because he's
I think it did.
pretty good at his job.
There was one episode recently where you spoke about
the
Fast and Furious movies.
I just listened to that.
Which I cut entirely from
That was a
the
good
program.
20-minute rant about Fast and Furious.
Which I cut entirely for the program
Yeah.
and released solely for the Patreon.
Has anyone taken that up on Patreon yet?
I don't know if anyone's looked at it on Patreon.
No
or
one
not.
wants that. Trust me, no one wants that.
So, in terms of creative stuff, did you always think you were going to go into a creative field?
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember talking with my cousin like 2 weekends ago, and I remember like back when we were kids, like we were saying like I want to be blah, 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 blah when I grow up, and she said I want to be an artist, and I remember thinking like I think we were like 7. I remember thinking at the time like that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? Like, yeah, so I've always like wanted to get into art and stuff, and like a lot of my friends are like getting into like biology and like maths and stuff like that, and I always felt like I was taking like the bludge way, you know what I mean? But so like I'm not lazy, this is just what I'm genuinely interested in.
It is hard. There is a bit of a stigma on something, like everyone's like taking sciences and you're like,
Yeah.
I think I did drama, media and all that, and I'm like, I'm having the best year 12 of my life. And everyone's like, oh, I'm stressing out, and I'm like, no, I got to do a performance, I got to make a movie, I'm having a great time.
Oh yeah, I think I had like 3 folio subjects, which was the stupidest decision I ever made ever. Like, and the thing is, like, I wasn't like, oh, 3 folio subjects, I'm gonna like hit that hard, you know. I was just like party, you know, just like every weekend. Just did not take year 12 seriously at all.
I definitely should have taken it more seriously, but then again, I might not be here doing this wonderful podcast if I had. I might be off being a famous scientist or something. Who knows?
I did take it more seriously. The only art subject I did in year 12 was media, and like I decided like halfway through that year to go into film instead of IT. So it was like,
Oh yeah, you were all about IT.
it was all about IT until I actually worked in an IT department, and then I was like, I am not all about IT.
That is fair.
I could imagine Dom still being in IT though.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've got the desk and everything.
Yeah, you still work
and
for
I'm
IT
doing
at the
that.
school.
yeah,
I
like
did, yeah.
if like at the end of this show you're like, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going back to IT, I think I'd be like, yeah. I think that's
That'd be
okay.
a real disappointment because he's my biggest shot at actually getting somewhere at the moment.
It certainly means I don't know what it would say about this show if I decided to quit entertainment altogether
Yeah.
after doing it.
Actually, yeah, I think like Dom's like into the like entertainment industry as well. So you know, there's a lot of people
There's a
like
lot of pressure on
depending
me
on
now.
you
Yeah.
right now.
Why the most successful one here?
You know what you're
Like-
doing.
Like, I'm
Every
doing what I'm
time that
doing.
like I have so one of my animations that I'm creating right now, so I'm pitching it for the second time on Friday, and before like I even like pitched it all, like did anything like that, I bounced the script off Dom. So like, he's always like my go-to person. Like, if I've got a movie idea, I'll go
This
to
is
Dom. You
turning
know,
into a great
That's
show
my.
for
That's
me.
yeah. To be fair, that's yeah. I think after every podcast, I always have an idea to pitch you. Last time I pitched you something, you're actually helping me record something that got cancelled on Sunday.
That's true.
He is. I think he's a part of every one of my projects, to be honest.
yeah.
But I just want to backtrack on animation.
Yeah.
I know literally nothing about anything about. What's the deal with like a pitching process? Like what? How does it work with animation? Like
Oh, okay.
I imagine
so
it's similar, but there's probably some differences.
I don't know, like if the process that Swinburne has is the same as like everywhere else, but like what we did was so our teachers were like, okay, what do you want to do this year? Do you want to be a producer, director? What do you want to do? And I said, I got an idea, and I bounced it off, and they're like, that's good, you should pitch it. And so what you do is you make your script, and you pretty much go to like the panel and be like, this is my idea, this is the style that I want it to be animated in, this is my requirement, so I need like X amount of animators, a producer, and this is my budget. And if they like it, they think it's original and achievable, then they'll be like, yeah, that's great, go forth, and you know, pre-production. And then you'll get to week 12, and then you go through the second pitch, which is when you say like, look, I've been doing lots of pre-production, give me another green light. And if you haven't been doing like any pre-production, like if say you just spent like the last 6 weeks like, you know, watching Disney films and doing nothing, they'll be like, no, that's not achievable, go away, go home. Like, so yeah, so there's pretty much like when you pitch the second time, it's just them pretty much checking up on you, saying like, you know, yeah, you're on your way, you're well on your way, you're gonna be okay. Did you have a similar process like that when you were in film and
it was
TV?
much the same in film and TV. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Bachelor of Media and Communications.
Did you ever have
and a minor in
to pitch
journalism.
anything?
I had to
Like
pitch
pitching stories and stuff, or
in DVA. I think I had to do a pitch.
Hmm.
So digital video and audio. I had to do a pitch for a short. We had a short we had to do, I believe. It was the last final one, and I think we did ours on a news story. And that was just simply like, we had our idea, and we had to pitch it to the class, and they would give us feedback.
Oh, is that the clown one?
No.
Oh, I saw that. I think it was good. I
Which
feel
is the
like
oh wait, no, I did do a clown one. I did a clown one in something.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I found your YouTube channel, so I was watching a few of your clips.
that was for a different subject. No.
and like
checking up on it.
That was a journalism one.
every time that like I'm watching like someone that like I only met you today, but every time like I'm watching someone who I know on YouTube, I feel like I'm stalking them. And then when I bring it to them, like, oh yeah, I saw that you on YouTube, and they're like, oh, sorry, should I not be watching your content?
No, I like that. No, I don't think anyone else has ever bothered to see my content.
I subscribed to your channel the
Thank
other
you.
day.
Yeah, I
Which
did
one? The
too.
new one or the old one?
The one that you subscribed to me with.
Morgan. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So
You had like no subscribers.
well, that's because my
was it
YouTube,
new?
my channel that is just me is that's for watching YouTube, and I've uploaded iterations of everything I've ever made.
Okay.
It was like I
'Cause
think
it's
there's
like, this
3
dude has,
versions
like,
of a
heaps
final
of
that I made.
videos and like no subscribers. So I subscribed to you with all of
It's
all of
all
the YouTube channels I have
university
access
projects.
to.
That's all it is. It's the clown one about news, and then there's one where the gnome stalks me.
Is that where this video that you're coming up with is going to go, or is it going to go on a different channel?
Different channel. That'll
Oh,
be
there
the
you
one
go.
that I showed you the logo for
Yeah,
previously.
yes. The secret project.
The secret project that we're not going to talk about because I don't own any of the rights yet. So back on. Let's stop talking about us.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's a very us-heavy episode at the moment. I mean, it's supposed to be about the plus one.
I just have more questions about animation.
Oh, that's fine.
Because-
just before like you ask the questions, I might not know all the answers.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
fair. Mine's more of like I never did film and TV, but I love recording, filming stuff. I love being on a set and hanging out and stuff. And there's like so many moments where you're like, oh no, that went wrong, or we have to reshoot. I can't imagine I imagine there's more control in animation. Like you can be like, you just talk to the animators, you do this. There's less chance for stuff to go wrong. But I imagine what sort of stuff goes wrong? Because like, film and TV, you got like actors to deal with. You've got audio. You've got like, I feel like animation's more controlled. If you know
with
what I mean.
the things that go wrong. Okay, this is a good example. I think it was last year, and we had an assignment that was due the next day, and I think it was like maybe like 6 p.m. at night or something like that, and I had handed it in. I was like, that's fine, I'm cool. And everyone else was still in the computer room, like just finishing up their animation and stuff like that. And then suddenly, pretty much all of Glenfrey lost power. Yeah.
Oh.
And so everyone lost everything that they'd done because like Adobe Flash like automatically like saves it for auto recovery. But because like everything had lost power, like they'd been logged out of the system as well. So Flash wouldn't even wouldn't be able to back up what they'd been doing for like the last like 20 minutes because they'd been like thrown out of the system, you know what I mean? So it's pretty much just like making sure that, you know, you back up your stuff all the time. And the things that I find a lot is I'll like miss like little things like in the background, like I'll miss like props or things that I want to draw in. But that just comes down to like good storyboarding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you got like a really, really, really good like setup for pre-production and you got a really good storyboard and a really good animatic, then you should be fine. But a lot of things like also like if your voice actor falls through, that sucks as well. But yeah, it's pretty much like technical stuff like you can't play your film or like I think exporting is the worst thing. I hate exporting. I hate it so much. It's the worst thing in the world. Why they even invent that? Like I just it's the worst. I hate it so much.
I mean, they invented it so you could
I know
watch
why
the
they
movie, I
invented
guess.
it.
But it's like, how important is the timeline then to animation?
What do you mean?
In terms of like, how important is it that this gets done on this day? And so I assume everything follows on. But is it?
So it's important that, like, say, you have your script like. But nothing's ever like completed or like set in concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you just want to make sure that things are like pretty much finished. Okay, so like you have your script, and then that'll be finished, and then you'll do your storyboard. But if you're like halfway through your storyboard and you realize that something doesn't make sense in your script while you're storyboarding, then you can go back and change it to like make it so it makes sense more. Mm-hmm. Or if you like go through your storyboard and you realize that like, I know you've got props or things that don't make sense, or you would like to add in things, like, you know, you can always like edit things. Mm-hmm. I think like the final stage is when you can stop editing, is like, wait, when you've actually like completed it.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's like the same for like film and television though. Like you can always like come back. It's just time consuming and it's stressful. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Well,
not the only thing, but you know, it's a big part of it.
The biggest problem with film and TV, I think, is the scheduling. And when, because you've got to get like 30 people in a room on a specific day.
And, I struggled to get 5 the other day. So
yeah, and like that's
it's hard part. I guess
a lot of time, a lot of money, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
That would be like the relief of animation is.
I wasn't even like thinking of like people just then, because like my project consists of pretty much 2 people, and I've got like 3 part-time animators. But there's people in my class who are like got a group of like a project with 15 people, and I can imagine that would be quite stressful for them because they've got to organize all these people and they've got to make sure that these people are doing. Okay, so right now for my project, I've given a task to a girl to just do like a quick looped animation of my character, and that is stressing me out so much. Like that is like, because I feel like I'm like have my baby, you know, don't drop it, you know what I mean? It's quite stressful, so I can't imagine like being in a group like where you got like heaps of people and like just it's like a trust thing, and I don't. Yeah, it'd be very stressful.
I imagine it is nice, like you don't have to meet up with the person and film them and stuff. You can like give it away, but that also is stressful. I imagine
Yeah, because there's like a lot of these people will be doing the animating in their own time, so it's not like halfway through I can just like look over their shoulder and be like, that's great, you know, continue, or no, go back, start again. They're gonna like go from A to B, and if something goes wrong in that process, then I'm gonna have to say no, I have to ask you to start again, and it's time consuming. So it's definitely like a trust thing, but I think that also comes down to like good communication. As long as I know what you want, then what did I just kick? I think that's fine.
Hopefully nothing important.
Hopefully,
probably not your dog.
So.
Yeah, no, it's all still working. We haven't like lost power here, so it's all good.
So in regards to animators, how do you find them, or is there like a place you can go to sample their work, or do you just like know someone who like, I've seen your stuff before?
So because I'm in 3rd year, spent like the last 2 years with like my class members, and I know what their style is. I know if they're reliable or not. I know the people to stay away from.
Yep.
And I was talking to my producer. Producers are the hardest thing to find. Producers, I think it took me about 5 weeks to find a producer, and I finally found one, and he's the best thing in the world. But I was talking to my producer last week, and I was saying, like, if you screw up, or if you like fuck someone over in their project in uni, like you're going to go into the industry and you're going to meet up with them, and they're not going to trust you. Like they're not going to want anything to do with you because they're going to remember like back when, you know, you were in uni together. So I was going to meet up with this girl who I wanted to be my producer, and then like she was late, she didn't rock up, and she wanted to reschedule, and I ended up just saying no, I don't want anything to do with it. And I was talking to some of my friends about her, and they're like, no, stay away from her, like she's bad news. So even like before we even get into the industry, like we've got people saying like, no, stay away from this person, they're not going to be beneficial to your project. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the role of a producer in an animation? What is their broad strokes role?
Right now my producer, they get like, he's getting like my shot schedule done. and he's getting my voice actors. He's organising when the film is made, what film festivals it's going to be submitted into. What else is he doing? He's doing lots. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it sounds like he takes a lot of stuff off your plate so that you can focus on the nitty gritty. It seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he's like budget and like technical stuff, and I'm like the creative.
Yeah.
I'm the creative side of things, pretty much. Yeah. So he just takes a lot of stress off my plate, pretty much. Yeah.
So understandably, you'd want a very reliable person for that.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I was talking to my housemate, and because they're like, you can just micromanage your producer. And I said, no, that's not my job. Okay, the producer is meant to be micromanaging me. The producer is meant to be organizing me and making sure that I'm meeting like deadlines and stuff like that. It's not the other way around. And finding a really decent producer is really, really hard. I think that goes for film and television as well. It's not just animation.
Absolutely. I think it does, yeah. And it's like, I think we'd probably be doing things a lot better and a lot quicker if we had a producer.
Yeah, probably. I guess, yeah, we kind of... Dom is the producer-ish, I guess.
Oh, sort of, but I'm
your producer, editor.
I'm so bad at it.
We could use a little direction, to be honest.
We definitely could use more direction, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd be superstars by now if we had a producer.
The next Hamish and Andy.
They've been going for years.
Oh, wait, they're going strong still as well, like...
Oh, I remember like when I was in high school and I was listening to them. So they've been going for over a decade now.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've kind of like... I would rather like listen to like... Nova than them. I'm kind of over them.
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like they're a bit stale.
Well, they've...
You might want to cut that out. I don't know if that's plagiarism or something like
slander.
Yeah.
I just think you should be saying that you'd rather listen to Good Cop, Bad Cop than...
clever.
I think you missed a perfect opportunity for a plug there.
Would you guys want to talk a little bit about Good Cop, Bad Cop? Like, specifically... I'm curious, like... You can talk. Why did you decide to do radio?
Oh, it was actually because like Dom was telling me about like your show and like telling me about like how much fun it is. I was like, oh my god, that sounds awesome. And so I wanted to get into radio, and I'm like, I need a co-host, Dominic. And so and I pretty much like made him. I actually made him like shake hands, like to do a radio show with me. And it ends up being like probably like the highlight of the week because it's just fun and it's laid back.
That's good. I was concerned you were gonna say, and then I learned the truth, and it's terrible.
I think just being in the studio is just a really good vibe. Mm-hmm. It's like we did ours on a Monday, and it was my favorite day of the week. People hate Mondays. Yeah. But I loved going into the studio and doing a radio show.
Yeah, ours was on a Monday as well. It's a lot of fun. It's laid back. I think my biggest fear was that we would get there and we'd just be like sitting in front of the mics being like, how was your week? And then like, we'd just like completely like bomb. Like we wouldn't have anything to talk about, but it's been fine so far.
Yeah,
I think
touch wood. It's all been good.
Like, you get to play music on radio and break it up if you get into it, which is kind of a nice savior that you don't really have here. We can't just be like, go to song, to a song, and we'll work out where we're coming back in again.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
But yeah, no. So could you see yourself being like, okay, I've got this animation degree, but hey, I see a future opening in radio. I'm gonna head that way.
I don't know. Like, I think I could see myself going either way, and like I could see myself like writing as well. Like I'm getting like one of my first short stories published on Friday, so that's really exciting. Actually, no, it's not getting published on Friday. It's getting printed on Friday, and then it's going to get published. So that's pretty exciting. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of things that I could do. I think I had my heart set on being a freelance animator and then just putting my stuff on YouTube. But because YouTube is like just a snake pit right now.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Because I'm trying to start a YouTube thing at the moment, and it is like, what?
The worst.
I think I'm just settling like, I'm going to have a website and use YouTube as just purely something else, because like, it is interesting, like keeping up with YouTube at the moment, like advertisers pulling out, people just doing weird stuff, like PewDiePie trying to just push the limits essentially and break YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is-
with his Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Oh god.
And then like he did the whole channel thing. He made a channel and then deleted it. He's just trying to see what he can do, I think.
I think he's just bored. I feel like he's just
He's
so
reached the top and he
bored.
can't. He's trying to do something else, I guess.
Trying to come up with something new.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that you're casting a wide net. Essentially, you go like, I got this radio stuff I'm enjoying, short stories, which we hadn't really touched on, but that's cool. Getting one published. or,
Yeah,
like,
so how did
printed,
that come about?
Oh, it's all pretty much like everything that I'm doing. Like nothing would be possible unless I had gone to uni. So this is through uni. My teacher said, "Hey, there's a publishing opportunity. You should submit your work. They're going to choose 6, and if you get chosen, then they'll what they do is like you take your short story and they publish it on greeting cards, and then when it gets to like the twist of the story, they'll put it on like the other side, so they have to buy it to open the package and be able to like read the end of your story pretty much.
Okay.
Which is sneaky
That's-
in a way, but I guess it's
it's
the way
good.
to get people to buy. So it's not on a book or anything like that. It's just being published on greeting cards. I'm not getting paid. It's just getting my name out there.
It's still cool
pretty much.
exposure.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about exposure pretty much right now. And like I don't know, like I think like 3SSR is like, I don't know where to go from 3SSR. You know what I mean? Like,
Been there.
yeah, it
'Cause,
just
yeah,
it feels
it's-
like 3SSR. Yeah, I've made it. Okay, glass ceiling.
I would love to go back to 3SSR.
It's great. I think Michael.
It's a
would
nice
gladly
little
have us
safety
back,
net.
Morgan.
It's like I'm on radio, but I can stay here forever. I don't have to go into the real world where people like listen like in thousands and hundreds of thousands.
But do you think some sort of further education in a creative field is important then? Do you think?
I think for like setting yourself up, it definitely is, because you get contacts, you get a taste of like how the industry really works. And you just learn things that you didn't even know. Because, like, I went into film and television thinking, like, what could I possibly learn?
Yeah.
I was so arrogant. And then I was just, like, overloaded with this, like, amount of information that I didn't know. So, yeah, you just, like, learn things. I think it's definitely important to go to uni. It sucks because it's expensive. But it's very important to go to uni, definitely. For me, it is anyway, because I don't think I'd be here if I didn't go to Swinburne. Or any uni.
I just realized we're all Swinburne
We
students.
are, yeah.
That's wonderful.
all
yeah.
Swinburne people.
I guess we're doing
I
them
mean,
proud, I guess.
I think, I don't know. Like, I get emails occasionally from like the faculty at Swinburne. I must still be on an email list of like where all of the Swinburne films have gone. It's like, oh, you've been, these films played at MIF and all of that. I'm still waiting for the email about my exploits on YouTube and like Morgan and Dom have hit this number of views. Good on them. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. We'll see.
So I have a question, because I was just thinking about this before. Because you do animation and then creative writing or short story narrative, one of those.
Fiction writing.
Fiction writing, that's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I guess you're constantly thinking of stories in your head.
Yeah.
Do you play with the concept of one being, or do you know instantly like this story's animation, this one's more of a fiction?
Yeah, pretty much straight away. Like, I told you a story yesterday, and pretty much as soon as I came up with the idea, I'm like, that's live action.
Yep.
Like straight away, because it's about like achievability and cost. You like weighing up the two and stuff like that. But pretty much, yeah, it's just instantaneous. But I don't know like the formula that goes through my head, like to like try and sift through the information. Like it just. I don't
There's
know.
no
I
flow
don't know,
chart
like,
you go through where it's like, okay, so has it got this many lines of dialogue? Then it has to be like that. There's no sort of step-by-step instructions for.
I think it
what a
just
story's
whatever
gonna be.
looks best
It just
in my
feels
mind.
right, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I think most of the ideas that I come up with are animations, though.
Yep.
In my mind, I think I come up with like a story like every 2 or 3 days. But most of them just completely bomb. And I was thinking, like, I want to bring this up on the radio yesterday, but I figured we'll just bring it up here.
Fair enough.
I was thinking, like, have you ever had, like, a really excellent idea for, I don't know, like a short film or something, and then you wondered, like, would I, like, really love this if it wasn't my idea? Like, if somebody else had pitched this same idea, would I still be, like, emotionally invested? Do you know what I mean? Like, would I love it as much if it was someone else's idea?
I've never had that feeling.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I'm going to have that insecurity about everything
Yeah,
I make
I just realized
from now
I'm trying to
on
think of
ever.
every idea I've ever had and been like, oh, wow, is this actually a terrible
Morgan,
idea?
Should
we do this podcast?
Yeah, is this podcast a good idea? It's like, would you watch someone else doing this?
I mean, I have a friend doing something similar and I listen sometimes.
There you go.
Depends on who he's got on. I've edited one before and it was like, that was fun.
But I suppose the next question
the
then.
bug in your
Yeah, I
guys'
know,
head.
it's like,
Sorry.
I suppose you know what the next question's going to be, and it's that question that nobody can ever answer. But where do you get your ideas? You've been pitching me a story a week for months now.
It's pretty much always from something that's happened or what someone said to me. Like, the idea that I pitched yesterday was from a comment that Dom said last week about how... Oh, should I not say it?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It was about how uni students... they get involved in like these political or like controversial topics, but they're not actually interested in them, or like they don't actually have like problems like relating to this topic. They're just getting involved because we're uni students and we're all about the people, you know, like, you know, you probably probably explain it better.
I think what I actually said was, I think the reason that they're like the stereotype of uni students is that they're so like politically minded and detached from the real world is because they don't have real problems. But yeah,
and then like from
that's
there,
fair.
like I came up with the idea of like a short film about these two uni students trying to come up with a concept for a short film, and they want to make it like controversial and political because it's gonna like capture the ideas of the people and people are gonna watch it. And then like they can't think of anything. There's nothing controversial going on, but then all around them like really controversial things are happening.
Yeah.
Like there's like someone's like littering behind them, or then you see like a same-sex couple like holding hands like walking past them the other way, and they just can't think of anything, and then they like get to class, they're like, oh my god, like coffee prices in Melbourne is so high, let's do a film on that, you know.
Yeah, I just want to point out, for the record, I know that I don't have real problems either. I'm just aware of my privilege. Like, let's just go with
Very
that.
aware.
Yeah.
I love that idea though, because like in the classes I did where people had to come up with a narrative, some of them were just like, oh, like just classic film bait, or like my one's like, I got chased by a gnome and I did a thing about clowns, but then all these people are like politics or like art's too artsy. It's like, I was like, I just want to do something fun.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I can definitely say that like to uni students idea. I like that. It's good. You should make it.
I really want
Dom
to.
will fund it for you.
Well, hang on a minute.
I even like have like a time and a location. I just need a crew. I need to write the script, and I need Dom.
He's like a must-have.
Why am I a must-have?
It's like he doesn't have a specific role. It's just Dom. Be there.
Yeah.
You can be across everything.
I feel like Dom like kind of like takes on the role of everything.
Yeah.
Like without.
This is a really good podcast for me.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
Yeah, you are a very good person to have around. You can
one's
like do some
definitely
camera
going
stuff.
out.
You can direct.
Like-
You can look at editing. Like
we were talking earlier about whether this one's actually going to be published or not. This one's totally going on the YouTube channel.
I mean, the thing is though, it
No,
works
actually,
out for us because
this
the
one's
more
actually
you get boosted up, we follow along in your shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
This one's actually going along with my CV next time.
Yeah, put it on your portfolio.
But that's actually, do you have something
No,
to say?
you go.
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 What's how important do you find portfolios? Do you have like a website portfolios?
Really, really
Yeah?
important. Like, so for my pitch on Friday, I'm going to be including like a short, like 10-second clip of my previous animation. So I can be like, look, I have the ability to animate. I'm not just talking out my ass. This is like what I've done in the past. And it's really, really important because it also shows your clients what you can do. If you want to even, you know, it's just important just to be able to like demonstrate like what you can do.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's like, I think it's like any job though. Like if you go for an interview and they're like, what experience do you have? And you can say, oh, I've got, you know, this experience and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely very important to have.
Yeah, I think the visual is very important in creative. Like I remember being like, even back in like year 9, like folios, put it all together, make it visual, make it pop, have your identity just there.
Yeah, my year 12 folio ended up being what I showed in my university interview. yeah, so yeah, definitely it's always good to have like something visual, to have like, not if you're like going to be a scientist or something, like you
Yeah.
think that's not necessary, but you know, it's definitely to have like proof or something that, you know, to show, you know, look, I can do the job well, hire me.
Yeah, I just have to link like, hey, I do a podcast. Go
Yeah.
check it out yourself, I guess. Like,
Go and listen to an hour of radio.
yeah,
and-
I don't really have anything visual. Like, I put my YouTube in there sometimes, but that's just a couple of uni projects at the moment. Nothing too fancy yet.
until the secret project.
Until the secret project.
I feel like getting projects like under your belt, like it's such like a 50-50 thing, because like, and you remember like when we were doing film and television, like there's so many people who have like 5 projects under their belt,
Oh, absolutely.
and then
yeah.
they'll be like, I remember there's a project that we did together, and I was like so excited. That was in the library. Do you remember that one?
I do remember that one. It's slightly repressed memory, but I do remember that one.
And now it's like this like idea of like, you know, like we put all this work into this film that we made, but we're not going to ever show anyone because it's not a credit. It's not a credit to us because it just ended up being so bad. You know, so it's like this 50-50 thing. Like,
Yeah.
do we show people like, hey, look what we made, even though it's terrible or not? Or do we like just keep it to ourselves?
I suppose the flip side of that then is, what is the thing that you've made that you're the most proud of?
Right now I'm just doing like, I think like numerous like 10-second animations. Yeah. So it's not much, but yeah, I suppose like it's pretty much just like the idea of saying like, look, I can animate. There's not much. I'm not gonna like, you know, be able to like submit it into like a film festival or anything like that. But yeah, right now I think it's just good to be able to say like, look, I understand the 12 principles of animation. I can animate. These are the programs that I can use. And then, like, so you spend, like, a couple of months doing those. And then you just, like, throw, like, 9 months of your time into this one project, like what I'm doing now. And then you can submit it to a film festival. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, you feel proud every step of the way, sort of like, I'm building my way. But I hope I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole here, but I've got to ask because you brought it up. What are the 12 things of
The
animation?
12 principles of animation. I don't know them all off by heart. I'll see if I can remember them.
Just anything. I'm just genuinely curious now. It's like,
So there's exaggeration, squash and stretch, timing, arcs. Okay, that's all I can remember.
yeah, that's fair enough. I like
Yeah.
that. Sound cool.
4 of 12?
Squash and stretch.
Squash and stretch, I like.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
Does that refer to the pre-animation workout?
No. So
Get limber.
Yeah.
if you okay, so the best
Play some
example.
squash, do some stretches.
Could you imagine like there was like a tennis racket like out the back of Disney?
Yeah.
Come on, did you
Yeah,
do your
the
exercises?
Disney racket.
I think that's pretty much how it is, isn't it? It's like there's like a squash court edit suite. Squash court edit suite.
No, so I think like the best example of squash and stretch is like the bouncing ball. So if you take a bouncing like a little rubber ball or a tennis ball and you film it like bouncing, it won't change shape. But if you animate it, what you do is like before it just hits the ground, you'll make it stretch a little bit, and then as it hits the ground, you'll make it compress, and then do exactly the same as it goes up again. And it gives it, even though it's not realistic, it gives the animation realism, which is unusual. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
that was a
much-
good example because like as soon as you said, I'm like, oh, that makes complete sense to me.
That makes that. Oh, I was like, oh, it's that thing. Yeah, oh, that makes total sense. Like, gives it character.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's like this. It's strange giving like giving it realism by doing something that's unrealistic.
That is an odd. Yeah, I feel like that's that like animation. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
the realest things are the ones that don't
That aren't
appear that
aren't real. That's like
Yeah.
animation, like in one sentence, pretty much, isn't it?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, like I think if you like do like film like a tennis ball like getting hit by a racket, it does squash a little bit, but like you do exaggerate it. So yeah. Anyways,
Should we pick something from the list of questions that we've got here?
I
you
feel like
guys-
we've covered most of it.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote this list. I haven't really been using it because I don't see how they fit mostly. But
I've got this one. This might prompt some interesting discussion. Mm-hmm. What's your most embarrassing moment?
oh my god, I am so not telling you that.
is it right now?
Wow.
Is this pretty
Okay. So something's obviously immediately jumped to mind. there.
Yeah, but I'm not telling you that. Oh my god. No, like my most embarrassing moment.
Like publicly. Like.
Oh no, it was definitely public.
okay, fair
it was
enough.
I think it was witnessed. It was witnessed by all the members of staff. Like a few where I work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a few years ago. I think it was in 2014 or something. But humiliation sensation. Like it was awful. It was horrendous. Anyways, not to worry.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go there.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't tell halfway through. She seemed to be getting into some detail, but still steering clear. It was like, I don't know where this is going to go.
Oh, no. It's just that because it's like it has something to do with... Okay, someone did something which I didn't like, and so I went to the person who did this something, and then it's pretty much like it just shames all three people, pretty much.
It's just an awful shame triangle.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not fun.
Fair enough. Let's not go there then.
I don't know.
Clear.
I could tell you, and then you could just edit it out if you like.
There's way too much work for this show. Like we've got like bare minimum effort on
Are
our
you
know
being-
what?
are you just being lazy
Your
right now?
audience is probably
100%.
like listening, being like, "Tell us."
Oh, absolutely.
We got to tease them. We'll be like,
Us.
maybe it'll be in next episode. It
ooh.
won't. But
No, it
you
won't be a
can
next
fuck that
episode.
out,
But
you got to tease the audience a little bit.
well, okay. So what if you tell us, and then if it's way too embarrassing, and afterwards you think, no, the world can't know, we'll just cut now.
That is
Oh,
so
dear.
embarrassing. So I'm just gonna take those off because
That-
my
That might be one of the funniest things I've ever heard, and it might never make the podcast.
that line will, because they don't, if you cut and then come with that might be one of the real tease, biggest tease ever.
I sort of want to cut it just for that moment. Now.
Yeah.
that was I feel really embarrassed.
I think we all need to just catch our breath for
We
a
just
second.
need some time. My goodness. Wow.
I think if there's anything that come off it, Dom and I are proud of you. I think you handled that
You
perfectly.
handled that situation tremendously, and I don't
Thanks.
think you need to be embarrassed about it.
Thanks. I was wondering, like, because I think like part of like the reason why I was like cautious of telling the story was I didn't want these people to listen and then be like, she's talking about me, and I'd be like, screw it, like you guys did the wrong by me. So do whatever you want with the story. I'm still embarrassed though.
Humans are flawed like that.
Yes, that's very true.
So I have a question. We may have already covered a little bit, but like let's go a bit more in depth. I'm just gonna go out and say, what is the future for Hannah Reid?
Okay, so
Where
right
do you?
now,
Where's the path taking you?
What's the trajectory?
so
word.
Yeah.
working on
I
my
think I
short
mispronounced it,
animation right now, and then hopefully I'll submit those into several film festivals and see how it goes. And then also working on some of my fiction, some stories that I'm writing. So I'm working on a story right now, which is, I've tried to explain this to a few people, but people either like get it and they're like, or they're like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, it's just like...
That was a wonderful impersonation of someone who just doesn't get it.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
So the story is, it's about a girl who has schizophrenia, and she's like really lonely and really depressed, and then her mind generates this girl, and suddenly she's like, yay, I have a friend. And then this company develops this, a device which allows people to be able to see this person which she's created through her mind. So what it's done is like it's takes a little chip and implants it in the girl's brain, which reads her brain waves, and then it takes a little device and then it will pluck it, like put it onto your brain, which would then send signals to your brain, which makes it think that, oh, look, there's a girl which I can now see.
It's like bringing your imaginary friend to life.
Yeah, pretty much like a hologram without the, I don't know, the projector, I suppose you could say. So
Right.
now this brain can see and like hear this girl, which isn't real at all. It's just a projection of her imagination. And then suddenly all these people are, oh my God, she's awesome. Like, I know, we love her. And so like they start like hanging around with this girl just so they can talk to her. This thing that's not real at all. And so they'd be like texting like this girl and being like, so this girl's called Alice,
Like
and
to
her
talk to
figment,
the figment of
this
her
figment
imagination.
imagination is Zoe. And people text Alice and be like, how's Zoe? Like, how is she? Like, what's going on with her? And then she was like, when's Zoe's birthday and stuff like that? And they'll like throw like a surprise party for Zoe, and then like Alice is like, my birthday was last week. People are like, oh, it's fine. Like, so people like give all this attention to this fictional girl rather than like the actual real human. Yeah.
I don't know if either of you guys have watched this TV show, but that is like, if I was watching, it's called Black Mirror. I don't know if
I know, yeah.
If I was
love
watching
Black
that
Mirror.
and that episode came up, like that, it's perfect fit. You should like just send it to them and they might use it. Because that was like, I'd be like, the entire time, like, this is a Black Mirror episode. This sounds like I'm watching a TV show being described to me. That was, wow, that's real cool.
I wonder if they take ideas or anything like that.
I don't know, it's a single writer. He's used to do satire and stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah, he
think.
did.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was, I was just picturing Black Mirror. I'm like, wow, this is like,
yeah.
that's a great idea
It's
though.
great.
Thank
I
you.
think Dom and I get it.
Yes.
And we're up there with you.
It's like dark.
You got the
it's like
IQ.
super dark,
You
but
got
it's great.
the
I mean, I
knowledge.
don't have the IQ, but I definitely have the creative vision to see it. If I don't sound too up myself.
I always wondered, so Black Mirror is written by one guy, is it?
He does the writing. He probably has a team helping him, but he gets mostly like he's the
think,
sole visionary behind it.
Okay, so he comes up with the ideas and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
think
that.
so.
I always wondered like how people who make like, I don't know, like episodes, how they keep coming up with new ideas. Because Black Mirror, every episode apart from the pig one is brilliant.
I thought the big one was brilliant
No,
too.
it hurts. Oh
That's what
god,
makes
it
it so
causes
brilliant.
my organs to shrivel up like
I was-
raisins.
Yeah,
Season one
Everyone's like,
episode
why are they
one, I
watching
think.
it? It's like why you can't look away.
Yeah.
I think that's like part of like the debate though, because it like
absolutely,
because
yeah.
it's so like, it makes people, even though it's awful, people talk about it.
Yeah, people talk. But to your question,
Might even be what
you
happens
can-
with this show.
You can argue that there are a lot of TV shows that don't come up with new and interesting ideas.
Yes,
and just do the
that would
same
be my
stuff
argument too. Yeah.
season after season.
Plenty of TV shows that don't
Like-
come up with new stuff.
God damn it, Olicity,
Yeah.
go away.
I feel
Leave me
like
alone.
there's only like a few like seasons or like shows where I'm like, okay, they stopped at just the perfect time. You know, like Breaking Bad was great. It stopped just at the perfect time, didn't keep going. Although they got Better Call Saul now, which is still brilliant.
I've heard it's very good. I need to watch that.
It is good.
So I've heard it's good.
But most TV shows that I think of, like, they just push it too far. They don't think, like, it's good and we should wrap it up now. They just keep trying to, like, get more and more out of it. Yeah. It's like trying to get, it just doesn't work.
I think a lot of TV shows now have like a planned, we're going to go for this many seasons. And the good ones keep to that. They're like, this is the story we want to tell. Some of them get like, oh, you can do more and they'll make more money. So they do.
I think, like, an excellent example is, I think it's Lost.
Right.
Where, like, the first season was really, really good. And I think that's all they had planned.
Yeah, and they just
but then
didn't
they
really know
just
where to go from
kept,
that.
like,
Yeah.
taking it from there. Yeah.
And it's hence why it's one of the most convoluted shows of all time, I
Yeah,
believe.
exactly.
I should watch that. I wonder if I could understand it and get my head around it. Very few people can, I think.
No, I haven't seen it all. So, might be worth watching.
Just the first season, though.
Just the
Yeah,
first.
just leave all the other mysteries unsolved.
I suppose we should leave some mysteries here unsolved as well.
Yeah, I think that's-
we're running up on our time.
I think this has been a
We're
great,
I think
fun
this has
little
been a
chat for
good
our
little
first
chat.
episode.
Thank you for coming on.
No,
Honestly,
my
like-
pleasure.
Let's
I really think we should full on what is it? Fifi, Dave, Fev, and Byron it, and just change it to Morgan, Dom, and Hannah because
just
yeah,
just this from now on.
yeah, it's a good vibe,
I think
man.
it works well. I think it
a good
works
vibe.
well.
This was great. I
But,
was so nervous about today. Like, I felt like I was like going for an interview or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what if I like say something and it was like, oh man, don't
Certainly
go there.
less,
like, you know what I
less
mean?
nervous than we were coming into it. I think.
Oh yeah, this is kind
Could
of.
have had this on the
kinda-
cards for ages and just not done anything
Yeah.
about it till like now.
I'm kind of past the point of caring about my online persona at this point. It's
I'm
like,
certainly not.
and it's like I know I got the safety net of Dom's a pretty nice editor, so there's that. I guess is there anything you'd like to pimp before we
Yes,
leave? Like,
yeah.
I assume Good Cop, Bad Cop. You guys want to pimp that?
Oh yeah,
Anything
Good Cop,
you-
Bad Cop, which is doing pretty well. I think like in the
Yeah.
last like 12 hours, it's got like 15 views or something like that.
One of them
So-
will be me.
Good. That's on YouTube, so that's
I'll admit to that. Well, I had to do
Yay.
my research, and also like I just like listening. I'll play video games. I'll just plug it in and play. This is nice.
Actually, yeah, I've done like exactly the same with like the Morgan and Dom show. I'll just like do my homework and I'll listen to you guys talk.
I
which I think
tend
is
to edit
great.
the episode and then go and walk the dog while listening to it immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Just to like double check.
Yeah, I find
yeah.
some people just don't like listening to themselves, or like especially if they edit, they've listened to it all again. Like I had another podcast I do. I'll listen to it straight after.
No, my ego's large enough to just listen to it
Yeah.
straight away. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
so weird. So like listening back to like what we talk about on radio, that's fine. That doesn't really bother me. But so for the pitch on Friday, I've taken like my Animatic, and we had to like, me and my producer just like read out some of the lines of dialogue and just like put them in like kind of like clunkily over the Animatic so that the panel knows where the voices is, like, and it's awful. Like I was like listening back to my own voice, I'm like, oh, it hurts. Like it's just so bad. I don't know, like I think because I was acting, because I was like trying to act, it just doesn't work at all. But this, this is fine because you're just being yourself and just,
Yeah.
Hopefully
I
you'll
think
be
it
able
is
to listen
also
back to this.
easier on like a studio environment. You sound kind of nicer and smoother.
Yeah, it's more
like,
natural.
I think when I hear myself on like a phone video, I'm like, oh god, really? Oh my god.
So you're blaming the equipment then.
Yeah, well, this equipment is like top notch, and it makes me sound pretty top notch.
Yeah, I think the first time that I heard myself on the radio, I was like, "Oh God, it's awful!" And now it's just like, "Yeah, you're
It's
awful."
normal.
Just you just,
That's how I sound.
I think the
Yeah.
consistency helps. Like it sounds the same every time.
yeah,
So
you
it's
just,
like you only need to go through that. Oh god, it's awful.
Especially
once.
if like you edit it every week. I imagine you got to get used to it.
yeah,
right?
you just get used to it. You just accept it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you sound like a goose. That's fine. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on our
No,
first
my
episode
pleasure.
of Plus
This was
One.
so much fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this has worked out. I think.
I think
this
Dom,
is good.
he's got the look in his eye. It might actually get released.
This one might actually get released, especially with all the
Okay.
nice things you two said about me.
That's true. That is very true.
That's it. Could you imagine? Like we didn't say anything about Dom's. Like you got no.
And
It's
if-
not
honestly,
going through.
If we can't get anyone for episode 2, we might get Hannah back.
We'll say I think we're definitely having Hannah back at some point. And either way,
I'd
Morgan
love
and
that.
Dom live.
Morgan and Dom live.
Morgan and Dom
Yeah.
live.
So you can find Hannah goodcoppodcast.com.
Yep.
Where else?
On YouTube at Good Cop Bad Cop.
Right.
Just on YouTube. But I think you can find it easier if you just go Good Cop 3SSR
Fair enough.
in YouTube. I had to talk my dad through how to find the newest episode last night. It is not easy talking a 65-year-old how to use YouTube. Like it was painful. Not to worry. He
No.
got there in the end.
That's good.
That is good. This has been Morgan and Dom's Plus One, the first episode.
Yes.
The 0th
plus
episode,
one.
I suppose.
Episode 0,
Yeah.
the pilot.
Yes.
I guess they get the gist of it by
you
now.
get the gist by now if you've ever listened to Morgan and Dom. morgananddom.com, everything links from there. Thank you, Hannah Reid.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
And that was the first episode of Morgan and Dom Plus One. We're not sure when we're going to do another one of these, but if you like the show, let us know. You can send us email at show@morgananddom.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook. This episode was brought to you by Audible. Audible is the world's leading provider of audiobooks and spoken word content with over 100,000 titles available to download. Get your free 30-day trial and an audiobook to keep at audibletrial.com/morgananddom.